So why do people change their behavior? What a great question. What is it about us as human beings that makes us want to continually improve and get better and change our behavior and get better results in our lives? Then the question follow on is then why don't we change behavior? So to be able to answer why we change behavior, I'd really like to talk about maybe why don't we change behavior and what gets in the way of our ability to change so that we can be who we want to be and achieve the results that we want to get in our lives. So why is it so hard to change? What makes it so hard? What makes it so difficult? Well, first off, we need to look at the reasons why people change. And I think if we can understand the reasons why people change, we can get our arms better around what we need to do to actually change. So what we found is people change for one of three reasons. First, they have to change. Their life situations, circumstances have forced them to have to change. Two, they need to change, but they didn't necessarily get around to having to change yet, but so they need to change, and so they begin to try to change. And then third is they want to change, or they have a desire to change. Well, of all these three items, the first two that we talked about, I need to change or I have to change, what ends up happening is that we might change, but it doesn't last. So let me tell you a story, a personal story, but it helps me to understand the point, and I hope you can get the point too. At 38, my dad went in the hospital for his first triple bypass surgery. He didn't take care of himself. He didn't really eat or drink appropriately, and he smoked a lot. So he came out of that surgery and he changed his lifestyle. Had to change, stop smoking. He started eating better. And then I went and visited him after about 6 months and I was like, Dad, what are you smoking for again? He's like, well, I'm feeling good and I'm feeling great. And so the need to change that he was forced to change, he did for a period of time, but it didn't sustain itself. And then he ended up having another hospital event where he went in and eventually, finally, after 3 of these events, he was forced to change. And he did at that point in time. But why didn't he change the first time? That's always the question that I ask. What was it about the first time? And what I found is because he really didn't have the desire to change. So I think as we talk about why people change or what do we need to do to change, I think the real question is that do we really have a desire to change? So you're probably watching this video because you want to change. You want to improve something in your life. And you might be struggling on how to go about doing that. But today we're going to talk about 3 key elements in which you can, as you engage each of these elements, it can help you to increase and achieve the change that you're wanting to achieve in your life. As I introduce you to these 3 items, these 3 areas in which you can utilize them to help you change, I've been utilizing these for almost 20 years. In my personal life, I've been an executive coach for almost 15 years, been using those with the people that I've been coaching, and we found them to be really successful. So we're going to start, there's some basic principles that if you can understand these basic principles, it will make a difference for you. The first that we found to really be successful and most successful people is they end up really sitting down and determining what is their purpose. Sometimes we call it a mission statement. They spend some time and they develop and they sit and think about their lives and who they are, where they need to go, where they're trying to go. And they create in writing, this is key, in writing this idea of a personal mission or a purpose statement. So the first tool we're talking about, when we talk about mission or purpose that you can use is this idea between having a mission statement that is tied to magnetic north as compared to a mission statement that's tied to true north. So when you look at magnetic north and true north, there's some principles associated to each of these. One, magnetic north is actually tied to the earth. There's this magnetic force around the earth that is attracted to compasses. And so it's tied to the earth, whereas true north is tied to the heavens. In fact, it's the term that's used by in the nautical term is celestial navigation. So that's one thing. Is your mission statement tied to just what's currently here, what you know, or is it tied to something way beyond yourself? And there's really power in really sitting down and determining, are you going after true north? Or are you settling for magnetic north? The other thing about magnetic north and true north is magnetic north is popular. Everybody knows about it. They know that there's a compass. They can pick up a compass and they can point it in the direction that they need to go and they could walk north, south, east, or west. Whereas true north being tied to the heavens, you have to be able to know that the North Star, which is what we use, it doesn't move. And so now I have to know how to be able to navigate using true north. So if I've got a map in front of me, I'm looking at this map. If you look at any corner of the map, they'll have a little area down there that they tell you, it's in the legend that tells you you need to adjust for 3 degrees or you need to adjust for 2 degrees for your compass to be able to work appropriately. So imagine if you're walking 100 miles and you're 2 degrees off. You could end up in a completely different city. So the idea of centering my life on this idea that's tied to the heavens, that's tied to true north, means I've got to be really clear about where I want to go and where I need to go, as compared to just what's convenient and what I need to do from the earth perspective. So true north, magnetic north, true north, there's 2 completely different approaches to those. And what I found as I've been working with individuals is it's a lot harder to select the true north and figure out what that is, but it's worth it. An example that I would give you to kind of illustrate the difference is that as I've gone through my life, I've really settled in a lot in terms of my health with this idea of magnetic north. Stay healthy, stay strong so that I could go play sports, stay healthy, stay strong so I could do this or do that. But I found over time that as I became older, more sedentary types of things, my ability to really be excited about that has changed. Whereas when I really sat down, and my daughter helped me with this, when I really sat down to really evaluate my life and who I really wanted to be, I want to be healthy and strong way into my old age. I want to be able to go play with my grandkids. I want to be able to play with my great-grandkids, right? And so the idea here is that in my mission statement, I just don't say I want to be strong and healthy. My mission statement says I want to be strong and maintain a healthy lifestyle so that I can be an integral part of my family's life in the years to come. So that's really the difference between I could just settle I want to be healthy, or why is it that I really want to be healthy? And that's what drives and motivates me. So just having a more depth understanding. So as you look at determining your purpose or your mission statement, don't settle for magnetic north. Really push yourself to find out what your true north is. And that's the 3-degree difference. So after I've determined my mission and my purpose, now the second part is now for me to really evaluate my temperament, my character, who I am, and how is that positively or negatively going to impact my ability to accomplish that mission. Because there's certain things that I put into my purpose statement that I know I currently don't necessarily have the skills and or the ability within my natural temperament to become. For example, from a temperament perspective, I am not the most caring human being. My wife is, other people I know, but I had a son that when he was out wrestling, he came back in and said, "Dad, I think I broke my leg." And I'm like, "You didn't break your leg, just keep wrestling," right? So I'm not the most sensitive person when it comes to that. But now as a human being, part of my mission is that I'm compassionate. Compassion is one of my values. That's deep-seated into my mission statement. So how do I become compassionate? I need to look at my temperament, understand my temperament, and what struggles might I have as I learn to develop this ability to be more compassionate. So I don't use my temperament as an excuse of not to change or not to become a better human being. I use my temperament to understand what obstacles I might need to overcome so that I can accomplish my mission and my purpose. So that said, we've had this conversation around temperament. If you would like to know more about what your temperament is, click the link below and take our free temperament assessment. Step 3 of this whole process now really culminates in this idea of having a coach. Being able to have somebody there along the journey of change that can help you accomplish what it is you're wanting to accomplish. Not giving you the ideas of what to do. You already know what to do when it comes to these human conditions. But that they can hold you accountable and they can guide you through the process. Example I'll use here is I wanted to become more healthy. For years, I'd become unhealthy. And my daughter sat me down one day. We just moved to Hawaii, and my daughter sat me down and says, "Dad," back to my mission statement. She says, "You're on the journey right now to not be around for your grandkids." I was about 50 pounds heavier than I am currently right now, and I was doing no exercise or activity. So I said, okay, what do you want me to do? She says, I want you to run the marathon with me here at the end of the year. This was in April. And I'm like, the farthest I've ever run in my life was probably 3 miles. So I said, okay, but if I do this, you're going to need to coach me. And she did. It was an amazing experience that I really learned the power of, I had a desire to want to be healthy. I had a desire to align to my mission, but I didn't have the ability to do it on my own. And so every week she would give me my plan. You need to run these many miles this day, Dad. And then she would call me, and I was doing a lot of traveling. And I remember I was supposed to do, was the longest run I was going to do at this point in time in the training. It was an 8-mile run. And as I went out to do this 8-mile run, I started the running, and then I got 4 miles into it, and then I got 6 miles into it. And I'm like, I could probably end right now and then finish the extra miles tomorrow. Because in my mind, I could just go ahead and so it was funny, as I was getting ready to stop running, my daughter in Hawaii texted me, and she says, Dad, I'm excited for you. I know you can do it. And I thought, how could I stop running? That's the power that a coach can bring and help you in whatever process you're trying to do to change. So let me be clear, changing is hard, but it's a lot easier if you have a plan. What's my mission or my purpose? It's really easier if you can know what it is you need to do and how to go about doing it, and then have a coach to be able to help you to do that. And in all of that, then how is your temperament also going to hinder or help your ability to accomplish that? So if you can do those 3 things, then you can join us on our journey of putting the human back into humanity.